Now, Paul Ryan says that a Republican win would spur a tax deal. I think he's right. But halftime, aren't you more than full throttle the Democrat win would not? Because taking those sides here, why is the prospect for serious reform only seem likely if the challenger wins? Shouldn't we expect and demand the same if the incumbent wins? Is his only mandate, the incumbent, doing more of the same? Would his victory then mean a victory for more of the same, more spending? Look, we all want a simpler tax code and a fairer tax code. That means a tax code where all have skin in the game rather than nearly half of all eligible filers watching from the sidelines, so not in the game. We spent a lot of time this campaign year discussing whose nose got out of joint with that whole infamous 47% thing, but precious little time addressing how the heck did it get to be 47% in the first place? Is Paul Ryan right that serious reform can only happen if the team in there goes? Listen to the team in there and ask of them. Prove that Ryan guy is wrong and that you will indeed fix the tax code if we let you stay. Can big change then only happen if we make a big change in Washington? Not surprisingly, Americans for Tax Reform's Ryan Ellis thinks so. You know, it does get back to a fundamental thing. I was thinking about it. I mean, if you reelect the incumbent, aren't you more or less reelecting what you've got? And taking a hunch that you'll get more of what you've got, but certainly not a revolution in a tax code or spending as we know it, right?
Right. And if you take a look at what we've got for the last 4 years, this president hasn't wanted anything to do with tax reform. He had a supermajority in Congress for the first 2 years that he was there. He ran the House. He had 60 votes in the Senate most of the time. He didn't put forward a tax reform plan. To the extent that he's put forward a corporate tax reform plan earlier this year, he walked away from it and didn't say a word about it until the debate last week. So this guy hasn't been serious about tax reform his entire time in office thus far.
And I wonder then what the appetite would be at this fiscal cliff we talk so much about here, addressing it, even with a short-term solution. Let's say you extend all the rates and delay all the spending cuts, part of sequestration for 6 months. The idea being the two sides that will then in the new year cobble together a big deal that will include tax reform. Having no aspersions against the president, I don't see the appetite in his part to do that, especially when he would find his reelection as a repudiation to do that.
Well, look, let's put it all on the table here. What the president really wants is he wants taxes to go up because he thinks the government should be spending a lot more than the American people do.
But not for the half who are paying no income taxes now. And I'm not here to disparage those who pay FICA
care where
taxes. Right. There's no interest in addressing that.
He doesn't care where the money comes. He just wants to make sure that the government is getting enough money to spend. Historically, tax revenues have been between 18 and 19% of GDP. That's historically for the last 50 or 60 years that we've collected. This president's budget aims to have tax revenues be closer to 21% of GDP. What that means is that he wants taxes $300 to $400 billion a year, with a B, higher than they have historically been, and he wants to keep it there. Why does he want to keep it there? Because he wants government spending to be at a record 23 or 24% of GDP every year.
But Ryan, it would have to be much greater than that to support the spending that he has. Your group and others have alluded to the fact that just to keep pace with that spending and paying for it through taxes, even though we never get to that point, we always run these large deficits, we would be approaching the upper 20s in short order. Where does it end?
Well, I mean, that's exactly right. If you look at his budget, it only goes out for the next 10 years, which doesn't account for much of the effect of the baby boomers retiring. So you have Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security exploding out of control. We have to pay for Obamacare. You're going to see government spending, if that's not arrested, easily getting federal government spending easily over 30% of GDP, which means that the tax increases he's running on now are merely a down payment. What he really needs to have are massive tax increases on the middle class that he isn't talking about. So forget about trying to go after the 47%. He's going after everybody that's listening to this program right now.
Well, that's actually accurate. Ryan, thank you very, very much.